Holy smokers, folks. This ain't no dang jokers. Tesla just fell another 8% plus here today. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have some very important things to show you in this video. I'm going to show you something I haven't shown in a long time. I'm going to show you my Tesla projections for this company over the next several years. I'm going to show you that in this video and what I'm expecting this company to do over the next few years. Okay. And it's been quite a long time since I've done that. I'm going to share my buy prices I'm looking at for this stock. I'm going to share, do I think the stock's a great deal now? Do I think it has a lot further to fall? Do I think it's undervalued, overvalued, fairly valued? We're going to discuss all that in today's video, as well as why this stock continues to just get absolutely pummeled. And so, yeah, going to be an in-depth video. Hope you guys enjoyed as always. I appreciate you joining me as always. And yeah, Tesla dedicated one here, and it deserves it because this stock is in an awful place right now. Down another 8% today. The market was green today. Most stocks out there were green, and this stock just can't find a buyer and just gets this relentless selling pressure day after day after day after day. I mean, you look at the pricing action, right? It opens, it's already down, and then it just goes down a bunch more from there, and then it can't even hold. It just continues this downtrend, and then just a big sell-off right at the end of the day again, and another 8% plus down again here today, right? Look at the stock over the past 5 days. It's dropped 13.8%, almost 14% the stock has dropped in the last 5 trading days. In the last 5 trading days on no earnings or anything like that, right? The 3-month, the stock has lost over 20% of its value. So this stock's lost a couple $100 billion of market cap just in the past, literally just in the past month. That's extraordinary, but that's nothing. Check out this next chart I'm going to show you. This is the one that to me is absolutely mind-blowing. Look at this. This stock is down over 55% in the past 3 months. It has lost over $400 billion of market cap in the last 3 months. An absolutely extraordinary move for Tesla stock in the past 3 months. Now, to give you some reference, right? The market has also gone down in the last 3 months. The Qs, the NASDAQ is down roughly 6-7%, somewhere in there, right? But that's a big difference between 55% and like 6 or 7%, right? An insane difference. And that just goes to show you how incredibly weak this stock is. And it just, every day it seems like it gets selling pressure, and it tries to bounce, and even when it bounces, it just is sold off again and again and again. If we look at year to date, the NASDAQ's down roughly about 33%, roughly the Qs. Tesla, on the other hand, 65.5% year to date. Absolutely extraordinary move. It's lost, I mean, from where it started out the year, it's lost over, $700 billion of market capitalization. Look at this. This is extraordinary. Meta and Tesla are now in the same exact place. And that was despite, Meta massively underperforming for a long time this year, right? I mean, it looked like, oh man, I should have just had all my money in Tesla rather than have any money in Meta, right? It was performing so much better. All to end up in the same exact place, which is the burial ground. This is where they all ended up. Holy smokes, man. Absolutely, you got to be flipping my flapjacks. That's incredible. I mean, Meta's actually technically done better than Tesla over the past year to date. That's something crazy to even think about, right? Absolutely extraordinary move. Now, sometimes it does pay to zoom out a little bit. I mean, if you look at this stock over the past 4 years, everybody's so caught up into obviously this year, right? But look at it over the past 4 years. Even after this massive epic crash of 65% this year, the stock is still up 465% over the past 4 years. Sometimes you got to zoom out a little bit. How have they done versus their, let's call it competitors? And I don't want to talk about like Ford and GM and Volkswagen or Toyota as competitors. I'm really talking about other big tech companies. How have they done versus those guys over the past 4 years? Well, they're the best. They're literally the best. Even after this epic massive crash, they're still the best performing stock the past 4 years against their competitors, right? NVIDIA, 339% gain, Tesla 465% gain, AMD 226%, Apple 219%. That number's still got to come down more. Google McDougal 72%, Amazon only 7% in the past 4 years. That's crazy to think about. Amazon's only gone up that much in the past 4 years with all the progress that company's made, right? But that just goes to show you, like, if you zoom out a little bit, you can kind of, look at these companies a little differently, because it's so easy when you're in a very bad market to get caught up in these short-term, fluctuations in stock price. And at the end of the day, a stock price over a 12 to 18 month span can go anywhere. It can go up a ton, down a ton. It doesn't always reflect how a company is doing on the next 10 years, right? Which us as long-term investors, we always got to, I try to always view companies really over the next 5 years, but if you're super long-term, you're really viewing a company over the next 10 years, right? And so if you're judging a company over the next 5 to 10 years, what happens in the stock price over the next, a 12 to 18 month span doesn't tell the full story, right? All that matters is that company heading to where you believe it's going over the next few years, right? Are the numbers going to line up? The revenue, EPS, and I'm going to show you my projections and all that in this video, which I think is very, very important, right? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You got to zoom out a little bit and you start to get a better picture. And same thing in your own personal life. Don't just look at where you're at in the past year. Look at where you were at 5 years ago versus today. Look where you were at 10 years ago versus today, right? And hopefully it's in a much, much better place. And for Tesla, we can definitely say it's in a much, much better place. Now, this is extremely important in regards to Tesla and kind of understanding what's going on here, okay? So if we pull up margin, right? In terms of the margin amount of money out there, it's come down substantially. Now, unfortunately, these numbers lag majorly, so we only have the October numbers, but we're down to the $649 billion of basically money on margin, right? And I think right now we'd be somewhere with a 5 in front of it. Like if we get literally like an updated number right now, I think we'd have something with a 5 in front of it. So 500 billion-ish somewhere in there of essentially margin debt. Now, think about this for a moment, right? I've been in the market many, many years and I've seen a lot of stocks come and go and what the popular stocks are, and obviously having my YouTube channels and my private stock group and the Discord chat and everything like that, right? I get to just see a lot. And what I've seen continuously throughout time is there's no stock that people love to margin out in more than Tesla. For what I have always seen, it's the number one stock that people love, absolutely love to buy on margin. And the reason being is obviously people are always incredibly bullish about this company. There's always seems like there's, except for right now, but there always seems like there's almost like a FOMO in Tesla. Like you better get in now. This is your last chance. If you don't get in now, you're screwed, right? It seems like it's just that sort of stock. And so people, naturally, it attracts a lot of more risk takers, right? And more risk takers are more inclined to do things like margin. But the problem is the stock has fallen so much more dramatically than any of these folks imagined that they've gotten margin called and they've had to dump their shares over the past couple of weeks at, to be quite frank, pretty silly prices. And it adds more and more selling pressure. And I mean, I've seen it, guys. I've seen so many people, including even some of the biggest, finance YouTubers even out there, go on margin and heavily on margin in regards to Tesla stock. And they thought like this was just going to grow and grow and grow to $3 trillion, $4 trillion, $5 trillion. But the thing you have to obviously take into account is economic slowdowns, is things that happen that you never expected, like Elon Musk buying Twitter and all this stuff, right? That's what happens with stocks. And so you can't just assume it's going to $3 trillion, $4 trillion, $5 trillion. It doesn't work like that. And you're going to have some bad down cycles. And I think a lot of folks just never saw it coming. And now they're obviously seeing it. And unfortunately, they're getting margin called day after day after day. And they're having to dump and basically liquidate their entire portfolios. And then they're looking back at Elon Musk and saying, Elon, you're the reason why I'm having to get liquidated out of my Tesla position, which is obviously going to cause a lot of resentment toward Tesla stock and Elon Musk. They're not going to look at themselves and say, what the hell was I doing margining out money in Tesla stock? No, they're going to blame it on somebody else because that's what always happens. People love to blame it on whoever else, right? Instead of taking responsibility, you blame it on this person, that person. And so all these folks that loaded up on Tesla stock, whether it be call options, margin, things like that, they're all going to look at Elon and say, this is your fault, Elon. You're the reason I got liquidated. You're the reason I got margin called. You're the reason my call options didn't print and they all expired worthless. So what happens time and time again, okay? And like I said, in regards to Tesla, I've never seen a stock that people like to do riskier stuff in than Tesla stock, just to be quite honest, okay? Now, if we're talking about margin, we're getting back down to numbers now at this point in time where we should be. If you look at where we're at prior to Rona, we were in the 500s. And like I said, I would almost guarantee you, if we could see numbers right now, we're probably in the 500s right now. And don't be surprised if by the end of this whole crash, whatever we want to call it, we get into the 300s or 400s in regards to overall margin debt out there, okay, before we start to, go on another, hopefully long-term bull cycle there, right? Now, Elon and the Twitter mess, it's still an ongoing saga. Everybody saw the tweet about if everybody in this, if, whatever this poll is, I'll abide by it, is what he basically said, right? And what the poll said was, should I step down as CEO of Twitter? And more people voted, yes, he should step down than no, he should stay there, right? No, here's the problem, okay? Here's the big problem, huge problem that I don't think a lot of people are fathoming right now. Even if he does step down as CEO of Twitter, we don't know when that can be. That could be a month from now. That could be a year from now. That could be 10 years from now. We have no clue. So as Tesla investors, I think a lot of folks are looking at it like, okay, how long until Elon is, leaves Twitter essentially, right? How long is it? But no one really knows. That's the thing. And so it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to step down as CEO of Twitter. When? A month? 3 months? 6 months? A year? 2 years? 3 years? We don't know. So that's the problem. And who's going to run the company? I'm sure there's a lot of very qualified folks that would love to run Twitter. I'm sure there's a ton of them. And Elon's connected with a lot of people. But we don't know when that news comes. Now, I will tell you, when that news comes, Tesla at least will go on a short-term, pretty epic run. Okay, pretty epic run for the stock price on the short term. With the day that comes out, I'm stepping down as Twitter CEO and so-and-so's taking my place. Believe me, that's one of those days where Tesla stock's up to a minimum 5%, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was up 10, 15%, and then finished just for the next several trading days, just in a massive kind of upward cycle of like Elon's back at, focusing on Tesla. So my expectation, when does Elon come back over to Tesla full time and leave Twitter? I'm thinking probably end of first quarter or at some point in the second quarter of 2023. That's kind of my thinking there. I think he's probably actively searching for somebody, but all that stuff takes time. It's going to take time, and I wouldn't be surprised if toward the end of the first quarter or maybe beginning of second quarter, somewhere in there, he, the big announcement comes out, and then Tesla goes on some sort of, kind of epic bull run. The problem is with Elon right now, this man's, Fox News talks about him more than they talk about Trump. This is the issue now, where he's gotten so political that, Fox News is covering this man all the time now at this point in time. He's gone so far over to, get into all these political related things now at this point in time that he is causing a lot of damage, unfortunately, to his brand, and his brand is unfortunately wrapped in Tesla, right? And I gave this analogy last week in a video, right? And I'm like, do you want to be Michael Jordan? Which Michael Jordan stayed out of all political related things and all that stuff. He just played basketball and inspired people and, to greatness, right? And then you got LeBron, who's always decided to, obviously endorse like Democrats and he's even called Trump a bum in the past and things like that, right? And speak out about issues that he wants to speak out on, right? And quite often. And he's one of the most hated athletes in America if you look over the past decade, right? I mean, pretty much up there with Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather goes out of his way to always, get people in their feelings about him, right? Which is extraordinary. And so Elon has unfortunately gone from, he used to have a Michael Jordan effect around him. Like everybody loved Elon. Everybody used to love Elon. Like literally, it's like Elon's amazing. Like, like you couldn't hate the man. It's like, oh, he's just building these awesome companies and he's doing great things. And yeah, he's super rich and he's super smart and all this stuff. And he had this like Michael Jordan, like hero persona around him. But unfortunately, he's gone over to this side now, and he's now got like a LeBron James type thing going around him. And this is why now, if he goes to a comedy show, you got a bunch of people booing him. Like that would have never happened in the past. But now people are starting to resent the man. People that were in the middle on Elon Musk are now gone over to the kind of the hatred side, and folks that were maybe already somewhat disliked him now extremely dislike him, right? And some people that used to love him now have gone even over to the hatred side. So now he's got a LeBron James thing. It's like, why be LeBron when you could be Jordan, man? Come on, man. Alrighty, so next up, Tesla's numbers. Here's my expectations here, and this is my projections, and then we'll get into the PE ratios and all those sorts of things and kind of talk stock price, okay? So 2022, this year, obviously we got 1 quarter left here. I expect the company to have done around $83 billion in calendar year 2022 in terms of revenue. That's my number. Now, by the way, in regards to these numbers, this is my base case at this point in time, okay? This is not my bear case and this is not my bull case. Both those are different numbers. This is my base case. This is my expectation. And something important to remember when it comes to these numbers is I'm expecting the economy to be very weak in 2023 and potentially even still weak in 2024, okay? And so do keep that in mind, that I am prepping for a more weakened economy and not some booming economy in 2023 or 2024. Okay. So for all my bulls out there that are going to look at these numbers and you're going to be, like, holy smokes, man, these are such bearish numbers. No, I actually have a more bearish scenario than this. Believe me. Okay. This is my base case. So $4 EPS, roughly, I think expect them to have done in calendar year 2022. Calendar year 2023, $100 billion of revenue I had them doing. That's about a 20% growth rate. And I understand that number, it looks extremely low to a lot of my Tesla bulls. I know. That's what I have them doing. My bear case is actually them breaking even revenue. So to keep that in mind. But yeah, $100 billion what I have them doing, which is about 20% growth. Like I said, I think the economy is not going to be in a good place. I think it's going to be in a very bad place in 2023. And therefore, it's going to make Tesla's numbers very hard. And Cybertruck's not going to be able to pull things through because Cybertruck is not going to ramp until the very end of the year in terms of major ramp. So Cybertruck will kick in 2024, but not 2023. And I have them doing $4.50 of EPS, which I understand is a very disappointing number as well. Analysts had them doing 550 plus, if I recall. So I think there's some issues with EPS. One is just kind of lower growth rates. Also, the Cybertruck ramp, I wouldn't be surprised if that hurts numbers, at least a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla has to do some extra incentives that maybe hurt profitability a little bit. Now, the company is always figuring out ways to save money with cost savings and those sorts of things. So I'm expecting them to do some of that. But overall, I don't think it's going to be a great year for EPS. I think EPS is just going to be I think 450 is a number for 23. 2024. I see the company doing $130 billion of revenue, which would be about a 30% growth rate, because obviously that's the year that Cybertruck kicks in, and hopefully the economy, definitely strengthens in the back half of 24 in quite a substantial way as we get ready for 2025. I have them doing $6 of earnings per share in 2024, which is a slight outpace of revenue growth, which is something basically from 2024 on, I expect the company to have a slight outpace of revenue growth in terms of the EPS. So whatever is a percent they grow for revenue, I expect them to grow more earnings per share, okay? 2025, $170 billion of revenue, which would be about a 30% growth rate there, and $8.10 of EPS, which is once again a slight outpace of revenue growth there, okay? So if we say, this stock's roughly $138, let's say right now, right? So based upon my 2022 numbers, I'm paying about a 34 PE based upon 2022 numbers. 2023 numbers, I'm paying about a 30.6 PE for the stock if I'm buying it today, right? Which I didn't buy it today, but if I was, that's what I'm paying, right? Based upon 2024 numbers, about a 23 PE. And then based upon 2025 numbers, about a 17, which is obviously extremely low. Now, keep in mind, once again, this is not my bull case. This is my base case in regards to stock. And this is assuming, once again, the economy is weak in 23 and 24. So as I look at Tesla, this is absolutely going to be a year in terms of 2023 that I'm buying. And it will be the first time I'm buying the stock since 2019, a long time ago. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, appreciate you. Might have another video coming later tonight. We'll see. Definitely check out the video I posted yesterday if you have not yet. That is a must watch. Thanks for watching and have a great day.